Jacques Attali was a guest speaker at the Kalorama Lecture on Thursday, April 15. He spoke to an audience made up of journalists, economists, and CEOs and outlined his thoughts on the ability of countries to sustain their national debts.
And actually, the first thing that we borrow to somebody or to some being is life.
After explaining that national debt has existed since ancient times, he reminded us that the solution to the problem had remained the same. The state reacts according to 6 different methods: inflation, reduce expenditure, increase taxes, non-payment, war, or growth. The issue of whether the federal government should take over the debts of the American states was a cause for debate between Hamilton and Jefferson when the United States were created in 1776. Europe itself is currently dealing with this debate. To what extent should the European countries help Greece? As history has shown, wars also trigger an increase in national debt. In the United States, debt appeared at the time of the American Civil War.
Beginning of the First World War, America was, as you know, borrowing to the rest of the world, to Europe. At the end of the First World War, everybody was borrowing to the US.
Today, the American national debt is hard to define, but it is estimated to be 350% of GDP. In the 1980s, the United States and Europe started to increase the value of their assets and thus created artificial growth.
It was decided that, implicitly decided, no one decided that the best way to increase the revenue of the welfare, the quality of life of normal citizens will be to increase their assets.
By increasing their assets, Americans were able to borrow more, and this contributed to the increase in debt. Jacques Attali believes that the American government was too weak to increase taxes or reduce expenditure. Americans got used to the idea that they will be saved no matter what, like at the end of the Western.
And there is a feeling, if you look at it, just tell me if I'm wrong, that even for public debt, cavalry will come. Nobody knows what the cavalry means, but the cavalry always come. And actually, it's true in America. Cavalry has always come.
Today, the debt is manageable, but in less than 5 years' time, that will no longer be the case.
Globally, we are in a world growing, where a part of the world is really growing, which is Asia, Africa, Latin America, but where the Western world, including Japan, which is part of the Western world, is not growing except by pretending to grow through debt.
If real growth does not occur and thus reduce national debt, Jacques Attali believes that in order to get back to a manageable situation, we should reduce expenditure or increase taxes by 20%.